Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Mr. Sunday Oduntan joins us now. He is the Executive Director of Research and Advocacy, Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors. He's a spokesperson for the DISCOs. Morning, thank you for coming on today.
Good morning.
Well, we heard the Labour speaking about what their grouse is. They say DISCOs cost us all of this. Why?
That is totally untrue, very unfair, and what they have done is an act of sabotage, and I will explain that. But I will start by apologizing to Nigerians who have been taking through all this stress, avoidable stress. This is the only country I know where you won't have fuel to even fuel your generator. You'll be using generator, the power will not be there, generation is low, transmission is bad, distribution side are not even doing what they're supposed to be doing, and that is the truth. Now, the issue with the sector, I've repeated this elsewhere many times, that what we have done, the reforms, is a very long journey, a very long one. We're just on the second step of a 5-step journey. But let me talk about the problem of the recent weeks. Now, we have not had light for 2 reasons in the last few weeks. One, there was vandalism of the gas pipeline in Niger Delta. That's what, first of all, brought the generation down. Because once those guys bust the pipeline, that means there won't be gas to go to the power stations. And only a quarter of what we generate in this country is through hydro. All others are gas-fired power stations, like a thermal station and the rest. So there was no gas. And I keep wondering, and that's nothing to do with us at DISCOs, not even to do with the GENCOs or the transmission company. That is to do with the security services and the communities where those things happen. For this thing happen, those who do this thing are not coming from heaven or from plateau. The communities where those things happen, I wonder what the security agencies are doing about that. That's the first one that happened. Following that,
which is the key thing that happened?
The first key thing was the vandalism that took our generation down from 5,074 megawatts, came down to 3,000.
So whether the unions went on strike or not, it was immaterial
before then,
because there was no gas.
Before the union. So the union thing had now made it worse. Because even the little that we had, the quantum of like 3,000 that we had, could have done something. But the union had turned us into darkness. That's why I say their act is an act of sabotage. And I'll tell you what they did. They had a problem with the Ikeja. But let me quickly refer back to April 28, 2015. Benin DISCO was picketed by this same union for 8 days. They disrupted all their services and did a lot of things. And Benin DISCO is one of the best DISCOs in the country. They are the DISCOs with the highest number of ministry in this country today. Yet, they have the most militant set of people who are disrupted by nature. I don't even know what to call them. I've been there several times.
Isn't that contradictory?
No, I'm talking about.
No, if you say that the best DISCOs, is the workers.
In terms of,
who's distributing the meters? Isn't it the workers?
I'm talking about performance.
Yeah, I know. Who's doing the work?
No. They said, okay, this is what happened. You took up an entity which was sold by a government that has failed to run this public institution properly for over 50 years, and then you gave me staff. At the beginning of the transaction, all these staff were paid off. Some of them 50 million naira in their account, some of them 30 million naira.
But George just says that's not true.
Oh,
they've not
people are watching now. The good thing about your program is that this is watched everywhere. Let anybody tweet or say something to the contrary. Even Joe is the General Secretary of NUI. NUI alone made 7 billion naira from the transaction. How did they make it? They did not get money from the check-up deals of all those that were paid off.
We can't confirm that at the moment, so we'll have to.
This is not about me. You see, we are not in the politics of power. We are in the business of providing power. So, and what we're saying is let us look for
about
solution.
the Ikeja DISCO.
Now, the Ikeja DISCO, as I go around, one of the major complaints has been about our staff. DISCO staff either collecting money, they are not being efficient, or you see some big fat men who are supposed to be distribution staff. How can he climb the pole? So there are some jobs that you must be competent at doing that sort of job. So
did the company just realize that those men cannot
this
climb
is something
the pole?
that we started since 2013, and it's a gradual thing. Now,
but Mr. Oduntan, pardon me to button.
Yes.
The people that come to disconnect our lights and meter, we don't see those kind of people come.
Those who come to disconnect your lights,
yeah,
They are very efficient in your opinion.
No, I've never seen those ones you describe.
Okay.
Come.
I'm talking about different kind of staff that needed to be assessed, and Ikeja Disco then did a competency-based assessment, which is not strange. If it's strange in Nigeria, then maybe I'm still a stranger here. There's nothing big deal about it. And I remember a few years ago in Ekiti State, when teachers were to be assessed and they went back said, no, we can't do that. That's part of the problem with Nigeria. If you are doing any job, you should be competent at doing that job. You guys are here, not because they want or like your family or like your name. It's because you are competent at doing this job. Now, the point I'm making is they did that competency-based assessment. At the end of the assessment, they found out that 2,000 of them require further training and development. Those ones are now being trained on the job. These are legacy staff. These are staff that we inherited. So to put a lie to the claim that they don't want them or they sack them, no, that's not the case. Now, 2,000 staff training, further training.
That's definitely not in Ikeja.
I'm talking about Ikeja.
Alone?
Yes.
You have 2,000 staff in Ikeja alone?
Yes.
That are currently what?
Now,
being trained?
Yes. When they did the assessment, they found that 2,000 of them needed further training. Now, 70 of them were promoted. Ikeja, I'm still talking about Ikeja. Now, 223 of them, 223, not more, not less, were found to be grossly incompetent.
Not 400.
Not 400, 223. And I think Ikeja too should be bringing out their people. Look, these things are not supposed, they are not hidden. These are facts. 223 of them were found to be grossly incompetent and not fit for the job. And they were disengaged. Immediately,
how long were
600.
Sorry, just to clarify, how long were those 200 with the company?
How long were they?
How long have they been with the company?
It varies. These are NEPA, PACN staff. Okay? And let me quickly, then they employed 600 staff. Nobody's talking about that. Ikeja. So if I disengage 223 and I engage another 600 staff, and these 600 staff, they are Nigerian, they are not from Nigeria or they are not from South Africa or Namibia. So what are we talking about here?
He says,
we're talking about efficiency, we're talking about competency.
Let me bring in this part.
Employment, remember.
Mr. Ajero says
talking
that.
About employment,
and I get to just a minute.
Voluntary relationship.
He says they're not averse to the management taking their decision, but he says that there are procedures that are stipulated that must be followed if these things are supposed to be done. He says they were not done, and that's their grasp.
That is not true. What Ajero wants, my dear brother Ajero, what he wants is the same old order. Please, they need to wake up. You guys are a private TV station. I'll keep on giving the example of you guys. This is channel television. Why are you different? You are different for a reason. Now, this mentality of the so-called and the usual, like I heard him talking about appraiser. There's a difference between annual appraiser, which is normal, which must happen, and this competency-based assessment done to assess people's competency on the job. These are two different things. And you cannot run this system now the way they used to run it, like a civil service enclave. Go to any ministry, go to any secretariat. They just fill the form, assessment, appraiser, I've done my appraiser. That's not the case. So the issue is that when all these things were done, even Ikeja also employed 40 young graduates that were sent to NAPTIN for training. Those are the ones that will become top distribution staff, engineers, and so on. These are the kind of thing that's going on. Even Benin Disco has done the same thing. They have trained 126 graduates now, another 125 are still in training now. They do that for 1 year, graduate scheme, like they do abroad, so that we can have people that are competent, brilliant, and able to do the job.
Why did you see the need for a competency test in the middle of this? I mean, if they've been with you for 3 years or thereabouts, if you have found them incompetent in their jobs, one would have thought that by now you should be able to point out some of these people and bring it to their notice.
That has been done, but let me quickly refer you back to where we started from. And that is the unique thing about this country. At the point of privatization, there was an issue about the staff to be retained and disengaged. And go and check, NEPA and PACN, they had a culture. Once Sulaiman is serving there, it is certain that his son, his daughter, they will be coming to serve there. His niece, his nephew. Not on the basis of merit, not because his daughter made a first class, But because August Sulaiman is an engineer at our Oga now, so they have to employ his son. That's the culture that they had. I've worked in a disco before, and I know what I'm talking about. Now, when they came, at the point of takeover, so there were a lot of negotiation with Ajero and Co, with the unions, BP involved, and then they said, okay, you can retain this, telling the new players, okay, retain this, courtesy BPO, on behalf of federal government, retain this, and give them a fixed contract of 6 months. After 6 months, you can let all of them go. At the end of the 6 months, that was from November 1, 2013 to May 30, 2014. And I was the chief legal advisor of Ibadan Disco. So I was part of it, I was there. At the end of the 6 months, we then started assessing them. We found that number one, you cannot throw all of them away. You can't throw all the legacy staff away. Every employer needs an employee. And there are a lot of things that you need to know about what has been going on in the past. Even the knowledge of the network. The network is not very good. So you can't bring in all brand new staff.